The market trades higher and stays in heavy resistance. Is a big move coming? This is Invest with Jacob. Okay, guys, so in the last few days, we've been talking about the market being in a heavy resistance area, and although it did grind higher yesterday, it stayed in that area, and now it begs the question, with all of this consolidation, is a big move coming? I'll get into that in just 1 second, but first, if you're new here, welcome to the show, guys. My name is Jacob Gabbard, and this is Invest with Jacob, where we use Elliott Wave Theory to break down the SP500 and the NASDAQ. I highly encourage you to hit that subscribe button down below so that you can get our daily S&P updates, our trade setups, and our buy alerts. All right, guys, we did have one winning day trade yesterday. It was the only trade of the day and had another awesome day. If you want to be part of this winning team, stay tuned for later in the video. But for now, let's jump into the chart and take a look. Okay, guys, so here we are on the 1 hour futures chart for the S&P 500. And if you are confused with any of the counts, check out Monday's video where I do a big picture update and tell you exactly how this big picture plays out. But in essence, essentially what we're doing here is we're completing potentially a wave one down of a leading diagonal. And as I said, we should get a very strong rally off of this point. And that's what we got, obviously, straight up here for the entire last week into this resistance box that I drew on the chart a while back. So we're in this resistance zone. We would expect a reasonable pullback from here. We hit the 50% retracement today of the move down. And so with that, we're still well within our bounds of looking for a pullback. Now, they can push all the way up to the 618. You just generally don't see that directly. You would like to see kind of one of these kind of things if they're going to do that, and then we'd look lower from there. So as I've been saying for the last few days, it's pretty simple here. Yes, we can push and grind higher, and really it doesn't matter how high we push. Within reason, the pullback will tell the story. If the pullback is 3 waves, that tells us we're looking for at least one more high. And that one more high, you know, can be the 618 here at 44.68, or it can be much higher up near the 4,500 area. And the higher it goes and the higher it pushes, the more it favors the ABC count we've been talking about for the bulls as a ending diagonal up towards 4,900, where the A wave would take us back to about the 4,600 range. Then you get a B wave, and then you get C up toward that 4,900 to possibly even 5,000 area before topping out. Again, that is to be determined. Right now, the bearish count is still the primary count. And the bearish count would look for 5 waves off of the high. So we've hit the 50% retrace. This is the secondary A wave target. So an A wave would hit normally the 382, and they consolidated there a bit. We're unable to pull back. And the secondary target would be the 50% retrace at 4402. And then you'd look for a B and a C. So it is still possible we get a B and a C up towards 4470 to complete this wave 2. But should the pullback take shape in 5 waves, where we get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down towards this low, then it would look a lot more like a wave 1 of 3 to the downside. We'd look for one more small bounce, and then we'd look for a strong move to the downside in wave 3 of 3, which would break down toward the 34 to 3,500 area should that occur. So essentially, again, guys, as I've been saying for the last few days, the pullback tells the story. How high they push doesn't really matter. Just like when they pushed to 4,600, and I kept saying it doesn't matter how high they push, the pullback will tell us what's going on. That was the case, and here we are again. Doesn't matter how high they really push here. We'll get a pullback, and the pullback will tell us what's going on. So 3 waves, and we have at least one more high. 5 waves, and we're looking down. Over on the NASDAQ, okay, so on the NASDAQ, we are looking at a little bit of a different story. So the NASDAQ is not in the same position as the ES. It has already climbed up very high into its retrace zone, hitting almost the 618 already. And so because of this, the next turn down, if it's going to be bearish, probably needs to be the turn down to be bearish, if that makes sense. In other words, we should not be seeing on the ES a 3-wave pullback, okay, because the NASDAQ has nowhere to go after that. If the NASDAQ is looking for a higher, if the ES wants to make a higher high, then NASDAQ probably follows along. And if NASDAQ makes a higher high, it's likely to invalidate the diagonal that it's in, put a lot of pressure on the bears, and make it really ugly to the downside and give the bulls a whole lot more hope. So the next turn down needs to be of the bearish variety for the NASDAQ, which would mean also the ES as well by proxy, because they basically trade in step. So on the NASDAQ, we don't get the same luxury we have on the ES of being able to look at the structure and understand if it's a corrective or impulsive pullback. So if you are following along, this would be wave 3 of a leading diagonal. This would be wave 4 of a leading diagonal. And then we would want wave 5 of a leading diagonal to the downside. Well, diagonals trade all 5 waves in ABC structures. So wave 5 won't be a 5-wave impulsive structure like we would see on ES. It will be an ABC down towards 13,600 down here. And that would be where wave 5 comes in, but it's going to be an ABC. Now, the issue with that, and the reason diagonals and corrective waves are so difficult, is because this is also going to look like an ABC if we're doing a corrective move and then coming higher in the bullish count. So it's going to look similar, where it's not going to be an impulsive move to the downside in either case. It's going to be more about how low the first wave goes and where the C wave would target. So if the first wave only comes down to here, and you get a bounce, then you're looking at a pretty reasonable pullback and then higher on the NASDAQ. But if the first wave comes down to like here and bounces, then you're looking at pretty reasonable to the downside. So NASDAQ's not as easy to see on the pullback because both will be 3-wave structures. So we'll be watching ES to kind of give us a tell on the NASDAQ. But here's the problem. The NASDAQ is at this 15,450 area. It is well into its wave 1 territory, which is perfectly fine. It is a diagonal that we're tracing. We expected it to come back into wave 1 territory. The problem is it's getting way too high. So you can only come up so far into wave 1 territory. You can't go higher than wave 2. And once you get past kind of this bottom third of wave 1, it's really unlikely to play out as a diagonal. And we're starting to get into kind of that middle third of the wave. So anything much above this 15,450 level makes it really unlikely that the diagonal to the downside is playing out. That doesn't mean they can't poke above it and turn down. I'm not saying 450 is the exact to the penny number. They can give it kind of this move, but they can't go above it too much. We definitely don't want to see them up here in the 15.5, 15.6 range. We want to see them basically hold the 14,475, 480, 490, somewhere in there, and then turn down pretty sharply. So NASDAQ is getting into some dangerous territory for the bears. They should be very worried about where the NASDAQ is if they can't turn it down soon, as a push through this 15,450 kind of negates everything to the downside in a more bigger picture view, where we'd be heading down to that 10,000 area on NASDAQ. So NASDAQ is a little bit of a fly in the ointment. They really need to turn it down soon if they're going to keep this bearish path alive on the NASDAQ. Otherwise, they risk getting run up here in a bigger wave 1, and then a 2 and 3, 4, and 5 up toward that all-time highs in the 17,000 plus area. Guys, if you love the information that I put out in these videos and you want real-time market updates from me, you need to check out investwithjacob.com. There's a link down in the description. Go ahead and click that link. It'll take you right over to the webpage. Once you're there, check out our membership plans area. We have 2 incredible monthly plans, and they both come with a 7-day free trial, because I want you to get in there. I want you to become part of the trading team. Make sure you love it. Make sure it's for you before you ever spend a penny. You can cancel at any time. We also have our Elliott Wave for Beginners online course. This course is helping real traders make real money. As you can see from the comments, traders are finding this very valuable because it allows them to truly understand a market that doesn't make sense. Why is it that Jerome Powell can come out and be hawkish and the market skyrockets higher? Why is it that good news makes the market go down and bad news makes the market go up? None of that seems to make sense. But with Elliott Wave, you understand the key levels, the patterns, and what you're looking for, so that you know when to get in and to get out of your trades and what to really expect from the market. You know that when key levels break, what to expect, and when they hold, what to expect. It gives you a clear advantage over the field and lets you truly understand the market in a way that makes sense. The course itself is 25 videos where I go through 3 different sections. The introduction, where we go through your expectations, your mindset, the KISS method, and why this works. The chart setup and tools, where we go through every single tool you need on your chart, how to use it with Elliott Wave, and why they're important to help you identify key levels and bottoms like we did a couple weeks ago. And the Elliott Wave for Beginners course, where we go through every single wave, how they work, why they work, when they fail, why they fail, what they look like, everything you want to know, the theory of alternation, the corrective depth theory, the pivot, everything that goes into Elliott Wave theory so that you can understand the market in a way that makes sense. The really cool thing is, if you don't want to buy the course, I get it, but it does come for free in both of our monthly rooms. So if you're looking for the course, but you also want to be a member and you join one of the rooms, you get the course for free. In my first room, the Invest with Jacob room, you get all of my real-time market updates, all of my buy and sell alerts, all of your Elliott Wave questions answered, a midday video where I go over exactly where we are in the counts and what to expect, as well as the training material you just saw. You get this, we trade the SPY and the QQQ, and we day and swing trade. So we trade quite often in my room, but if you were looking for individual stocks, futures trading, and advanced trading methods, then you're going to want to check out PT's Throne Room. In there, you get everything you get in the Invest with Jacob room, as well as individual stocks, futures trading, and PT's reduced risk binary method that just crushes the market. He gets you in at a cheap price and gets you big multiples on your money, and it's how he structures the trade that's so unique. It's something you kind of have to see to understand, and that's another reason we give you that 7-day free trial. He also started a challenge account where he put $4,000 into an account, trading mini ES futures, showing you how to build a small account into a large retirement or savings account. Guys, we would love to have you in these rooms so we can all make money together. All right, key takeaways for today. ES is still in this resistance zone. The pullback really tells the story. 3 waves and we look higher, 5 waves and we look lower. Over on the NASDAQ, the pullback does not tell the story on the NASDAQ. We should be expecting 3 waves either way. However, if they push directly over this 15,450 area, that is a big problem for the bears, as it does get too high to be a wave 4 in this diagonal, and then the bulls take control. Guys, that is your market update for today. I will talk to you tomorrow.